Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, welcome back friends. We will try to continue the elements of visual design. I am hopeful that you would have finished the both exercise what I gave to you, so that you will start appreciating. We will add some more last lecture, more information on the principles. One, we will start looking in this balancing, then we will try to look at proportions, emphasis, juxtaposition, rhythm and unity, which we saw last time very briefly. Now, we will see with examples. The principles of visual design. The principles of visual design represents the most general classes of tools available for determining the ideal arrangement of elements of design for any given visual work. So, here we talk about principles of visual design. So, ideal arrangement of the elements of design for any given visual work. So, this we have seen last lecture itself. We will have some examples here. So, balance, proportion, emphasis, juxtaposition, rhythm, concept, function, epilogue. Balance. It is the principle of design that places elements in such a way that these elements are evenly distributed, that is balancing. Okay. The concept of balance is fundamental to well formed design. So, if you look at it, a balance, okay. The design places the elements in such a way these elements evenly distribute. Okay. Most of the principle work opposite to each other, hence this principle basically tries to balance. So, balancing is very important and this concept has to be followed. So, balancing of design elements which are used in a figure. There are three kinds of balancing which we saw. One is symmetrical, asymmetrical and radial balance. So, this is symmetrical, this is symmetrical, this is symmetrical and this is asymmetrical and radial balance. Symmetrical balance, a balance which is created through the mirror image about an axis or a plane or about two axes or planes etc. is called as symmetric balancing. They are further divided into horizontal balance, vertical balance and horizontal and vertical balance. So, these are those. And interestingly, when you try to take an image, photograph, they say you have to follow rule of third. So, what they say is, they say you try to take any image and try to divide this image into two horizontal lines and two vertical lines. And what they say is, they say your image where your focus should of whatever object you took, either you do it along the horizontal line of these two, or you try to do in the vertical line in these two, or you try to do at these points. You try to do at these 4 points where, or if these two diagonal points or these two diagonal points. So, you try to keep your image where exactly focus has to be made such that you get the best out of the photograph or image. So, why am I telling this is balancing is very important. If you balance properly, the object and the surrounding can be given more weightage. So, the object can be given more weightage when compared to the surrounding. So, here it is all by balancing. So, symmetric balancing, you will have horizontal balancing, vertical balancing and you can have horizontal and vertical balancing. The rule of third which we talked about here is followed. So, this is what I was trying to say, visual centers and the grid must be considered. So, you try to keep your object either in the horizontal lines or in the vertical lines or in the diagonal opposite lines, such that you get the best image or the best figure out of it. Asymmetrical balance which is created through an odd or mismatched figures of elements that are further divided into all over balance and asymmetric tension. So, here if you see, the number of petals will be in odd. So, or there is a mismatch, but overall if you see, it will try to have a symmetry and it will try to balance. So, radial is something which is spirally going out and out and out and out. So, this is generally created for having hallucination or feelings. The balancing is created through the balance axis point, visual center, balance center that are further divided into same shape and different shapes. So, these are called as radial balance, which you can also follow while trying to develop a design, okay, or while trying to develop a image. So, these are all this is the first principle of design is balancing. Next, these are other balance examples. You can see these are the video game figures which are made, or these are the pixels which are getting activated. So, here are these pixels. So, this object is again done balancing, and here also this is vertical which is mirror image, which is done balancing for this box and not for this. So, ratios and proportions, it is defined the relative size and the ratio of various elements used in design, and hence the relative size of the object in the product. So, here they talk about the relative sizes and the ratio of the various elements. Relative, see, look at it, you have a fish which is extremely large. Look at a man here which is too small. So, proportions, or maybe the fish is very close to you, the man is too far off, and if you say such a big fish and look at the wire and other things which he is using, which is just a disproportionately which is drawn, or it can be a cartoon image, whatever you want to say. It defines the relative size between the man and the fish and the ratio of the various elements used in the design, and hence the relative size of the objects in the product is maintained, whereas ratio defines the overall size with respect to the surrounding. So, this is a ratio. Okay. The relative size of things can be adjusted for the purpose of creating a perspective illusion, exaggerating comparative apparent attributes such as message or metamorph, or simply to achieve a balanced layout in terms of the distribution of mass and space is done. We always try to give importance to ratios and proportions. So, ratios and proportions, maintaining proportions is very, very important. Surrounding factor such as home and public place is there. So, overall proportion may ruin the basic configuration, very standard human body, so as to proportion can be taken by taking this as a reference. So, with this we try to take that as a reference and use it. We use the golden ratio which we discussed. We using visual tension in the product makes it more appealing. Using fractal design is also using proportions. So, this is a golden ratio which we saw. So, these are the buildings wherein which it is followed, and these are the other old buildings wherein which it is magnificent. They follow this Fibonacci rectangle is followed, or a golden rectangle is followed. So, you can see the spiraling effect is formed and it forms a very beautiful image. The proportion of the examples again for Fibonacci spiral is duplicated, rotated around the center, and the circular patterns is mirrored. When assembled, the results forms a pattern seamed in sunflower. Okay. So, whatever drawing you do, if you follow this golden ratio, then you will have a very, very appealing figure. So, going back to proportions, self similarity meaning the self similarity meaning the building unit contained in the pattern is the same as the overall complete shape. You can see these two patterns are self similar. The shape of the units are the same as the shape as a whole. So, these two things. These two patterns are not similar. Okay, you can see. So, it is the same color, the pixels are there. So, now here you will have a round pixel. So, here you have a square pixel. So, these two patterns are same and here the only shape is different. So, all of these patterns are self similar. 3. The fractal, a shape that is self similar and has a fractional dimension, is called as fractals. So, fractals are taken from the nature. So, if you see a branch which is going, it is also fractal. Fractals can be used to create a infinite variance of shapes. This simple fractal became a tree within a few iterations. You see, this is becoming a tree within few iterations. The fractal can be used to visually reproduce almost anything found in nature is under the fractal. So, we will always try to capture this fractal. The snowflake is another simple fractal using a two equilateral triangle to create a star in the first iteration. Okay. When each iteration is reduced to 2/3, it then fits within the previous shape and creates a new iteration. So, you see 2/3, 2/3, 2/3, you can see the snowflakes, snowflakes are created, that follows also fractal. So, shapes are very important. So, this is again a golden ratio which we discussed. So, these are the boxes which are made. So, if you see that in totality it is followed, when you look at the furnaces which are developed, again it also follows it. When you look at a telephone, this also follows of telephone or a gym equipment wherein which the display is done. So, it also follows the golden ratio. The direction, emphasis and contrast. The course or path a viewer's eye will take through a composition is shaped by actual or implied lines and actually implies a geometric shape. There are certain points, lines, curves, areas and volumes which need utmost attention from the customer and hence must be made different or distinct. Say for example, blue water, brown one. So, distinct, say it says that here is a seashore. Okay. A point or an area in a product need to be different or separate from the other, which can be done with a contrast of size, shape or color. The direction, emphasis and contrast in a figure tries to bring in a difference in the feeling. So, emphasis are also called as focus in some schema, is the acting of causing some region of an image to seem more important, some region is more important than the other, creating a balanced series of emphasis is there. So, this is according to shape, this is according to color, this is according to size and this is size and color. We try to give more emphasis. So, by taking one of the design elements. Contrast, the viewer's eye to contrast is to set elements in defined opposition in order to highlight different attributes. For example, this is white in color, this is dark in color. So, we see a very clear distinction between white and then along the edges. So, same way this has a green background, this has a white background, clear distinction, contrast difference it is there, and white background, gray it is also there. A building, you can see where there is an entry which is to be done, the doors are dark in color. Proximity and juxtapositioning, the producibility, it reflects the ease with which a product can be made, which is a measure of how easily a product can be manufactured to engineering design with a premium quality and low investment in order to maximize profit. This is producibility or proximity. Okay. It contains the flavor of one of the early contribution during the development of a product development process, which includes the following guidelines: reduction in the number and type of parts and the part features, selection of components having preferred size, weight, material, near net shape, ensuring testability, repairability by using pre-built test methods, modularity, test points and accessibility, testing on the basis of development to assure improvement in quality, performance during environmental stress and screening. So, these are some of the design suggestions which are to be followed such that when you try to make a product, it is taken care. So, repetition, a process of creating an identical instant of the same element and assembled one after the other is called as repetition. Variation is So, you can see there are two elements. So, this is one element and two element. These second element is repeated at a regular intervals of time, that is called as a variation. Is a process of creating a non-identical instant of elements or assembly of elements by adjusting one or more of the attributes. Patterning are regularly assembled or repeats and or other varying elements. So, this is pattern which we are trying to use, pattern. Okay, this is pattern. These are identical elements which are. Discard use large contrasting intervals between the elements to maximize tension and heighten recognition. So, you see here they have given red color and yellow color. Here there is a size change. So, here your focus in this entire object goes to these 4 points and the information is expressed. So, here is a variation, here is a repetition and here is a pattern. So, pattern is this, almost if you see here, this pattern is repeated here, all these things are repeated here except you have this. So, here repetition is you have this projections, positive impressions which are there, which are regularly arranged in sequence. Variation is you see them, there are projections, but they do not follow any regular repetition. Rhythm, tempo and harmony. It is rhythm, it is otherwise called as tempo or harmony. Rhythm is the variation of the duration of sound or visual effect or other event over time. When governed by a rule, it is called as meter. In a harmonious composition, even the element that stands in the opposition shares enough common attributes with their surrounding to seem a part of the whole, that is harmony. Harmony in the design is about finding a kind of visual rhythm scheme expressed through a single attribute or a set of attributes is harmony. So, rhythm, harmony is all used as a design element which is there. So, this is a rhythm. So, you also have a rhythm here, a harmony here, a tempo here. Unity and belonging. Unity is defined the basic concept with the help of which the whole product or the item is seen as a single unit. The basic concept defines basic idea, basic shape, basic size, color, texture which has been the first food for thought of the product. So, this is unity. Visual sense of oneness. Each element of art is arranged to contribute to the composition. Too much variety creates chaos, however, too much order creates boredom. So, you have to see how do you break the boredom, how do you break the chaos. In between you should have some small variation such that people start looking at the figure continuously. The elements and the principles can be selected to support the intended function of the design object. The purpose of the object unifies the design. So, this is very, very important. So, inclined lines and the curved lines. The inclined lines and the curved lines are used to create a unity concept in the form of shape of a product. So, you can see lot of lines inclined going and you try to create a unity concept. So, unity examples for form and color, for connectedness, and then for curved one we have seen this is form and this is color. These are examples for unity. So, what is unity? So, I will repeat. Unity is defined the basic concept with the help of which the whole product or item is seen as a single unit. Okay. So, unity means you look at things, when things look right together. So, we create unity. So, you can do line, you can do color, you can do texture, you can do anything, right. These are all there. Okay. So, these are all unity. Unity is something, unity is defined as a basic concept with the help of which the whole product or the item is seen as a single unit. So, you can have variety. Variety is defined as the variation in the product layout in one way or the other, so that the boredom associated with much unity can be accommodated. So, you can have numbers, you can arrange them, you can have dimensions of vary, you can have shapes vary, you can have color vary. So, all these varieties try to kill the boredom which is done because of the repetitive patterns. By varying the component of a visual design, the artist creates an interest and avoids the monotony. The way of accomplishing this is to establish an approach which involves theme and variation, repeating the shape and image built in the different size, color, values and shapes. Function. Function suggests no art for art's sake. So, function is something which is very, very important. So, what they say is function suggests no art for art's sake. In the real life world problem, things have to work. Design should serve the purpose. No matter how beautiful it is, but it is not functional effective, the design must be discarded. Okay. Look at the size of the button and look at the shape of your finger. So, it is half of it. So, it becomes very difficult for you to use, and so here it is a wonderful design. So, you look at it, the handle is, the latch handle is at the top. So, it is not going to serve a purpose because this lady cannot stretch more than that, and when she stretches more, there is a problem of stability in her body. So, she might topple or fall down. So, this is not accepted. So, in the same way, when you are trying to make a seat for a truck, and if when he tries to swing, he has to strain himself so much and his leg will be hurt at the steering. So, this is not a functional one, however, it has art in it. Okay. So, coming to the end, so I would now like you to take 3 remote. It can be a TV remote, it can be an AC remote, it can be a remote, any other remote. So, this can be a module remote. You will have 3 remotes. So, you try to take the 3 remotes and try to critically analyze. So, this is TV, this is AC, and this may be a dish remote. Okay. Critically analyze each product and try to comment on their way of using design elements. What are the design elements? Line, color, texture, shape, size and form. How have they used it? Which one of the 3 is good? What is the mistake in each one, so that it has not appealed to people? Okay. If you do this exercise, then the basic design elements and the principle of design elements both can be used for critical analysis, and you can try to make a report. With this, we come to an end of the topic design for elements and principles for design. I hope you would have enjoyed. I went little fast, but when you start reading, there are so much of literature available in the open source. You can pick and make yourself comfortable while reading through. Thank you very much.